Chosen one. This moment has been set apart by God to awaken you to a great transition that is drawing near. You did not stop here because of some meaningless coincidence, nor did you accidentally hear this reminder amid the countless sounds of life. I am calling you back into stillness so that you may recognize that a new door is opening within the deepest place of your heart. What is about to change is not merely an outward circumstance, but also the way you see yourself, the way you walk through adversity, and the way you receive the future. For a long time, you have sensed that something was quietly moving beneath the surface, like an underground current that had not yet appeared above the earth. Today, I want you to know that this feeling is not meaningless. An old season is gradually closing, and a new one is approaching with light, maturity, and opportunities you never believed you could reach. I know that the world around you is filled with noise. One responsibility follows another. Financial concerns weigh heavily upon your mind, and voices of doubt often arrive at the very moment you feel weakest. There are mornings when, before your feet even touch the floor, you already feel as though you must fight against hundreds of thoughts. You look at others moving forward and wonder why your journey seems slower, more difficult, and filled with so many turns. But beloved, I do not measure your life by the pace of another person. What has been prepared for you does not need to resemble anyone else's journey. Stop comparing your field with your neighbor's harvest, because you do not know what they planted. Just as they cannot fully understand what you have quietly endured, I am creating a unique path for you, one in which every lesson, every delay, and every time you had to begin again has helped prepare you for something greater. Perhaps you believe you have lost too much time. You regret the years spent on people who did not value you, the opportunities that slipped from your hands, or the decisions you now wish you could return and change. But I do not look upon you with condemnation. I see someone who did the best they could with the understanding they possessed in each season. You cannot use the maturity you have today to punish the version of yourself who lived in the past, because at that time, you did not yet possess the discernment you now carry. What has passed no longer has the authority to imprison you. I can use even the roads that seemed wasted to teach you discernment, healthy boundaries, love that does not require self-abandonment, and the ability to walk without needing everyone's approval. You are not defined by what you lost. You are being shaped by the way you rose after those losses. Remember the battles you once believed you could never survive. There were times when rejection caused you to question your worth. Betrayal made you unwilling to trust anyone, and prolonged silence caused you to believe your prayers had vanished into emptiness. Yet you are still here, even when your steps became slow. You never completely gave up, even when tears blurred your vision. You still found a way to continue. I saw every time you smiled to reassure others while breaking inside. I heard the words you could not speak aloud. I knew the nights when you had to hold your own pain because no one understood what you were enduring. Not one of those moments has been forgotten. Those trials did not come to condemn you. They became a furnace that revealed the strength, patience, and wisdom that had been growing within you. A sword does not become strong merely because its surface shines. It must pass through heat, endure, shaping, and be sharpened many times before it can fulfill its purpose. You have passed through a similar process. Closed doors once caused you pain. Yet some doors, if opened too soon, would have led you into places where you were not yet strong enough to remain standing. People who left once made you feel abandoned. But some departures freed you from cycles that were draining you. Seasons of waiting once caused you to doubt. But that very waiting deepened your heart, sharpened your sight, and matured your choices. Therefore, do not be ashamed of the marks left by your journey. They do not declare that you are weak. They prove that you passed through fire while preserving tenderness in your heart. Now, I am rearranging the scattered pieces of your life. Some of the parts that once confused you will gradually become clear. You will understand why certain plans failed, why some people could not continue walking beside you, and why you had to learn lessons that felt so harsh. Opportunities are being formed beyond your sight. But I do not want you to live in impatience or chase every glittering promise. What is right will never require you to betray your values. The proper door will not demand that you lower your dignity in order to enter. A healthy relationship will not cause you to question your place continually. Let peace become the lamp that guides you. When something comes from goodness, it will lead you into gratitude, responsibility, and humility rather than pride or confusion. You do not need to chase what truly belongs to you. Yet trust does not mean sitting still and abandoning responsibility. I want you to cooperate with what is good through practical action. If you desire financial stability, begin by facing the numbers honestly, organizing your spending, and learning to manage what you already possess. If you desire restored health, respect your need for rest, movement, and appropriate support. If you hope for healing in a relationship, learn to speak truth with gentleness while refusing to continue tolerating behavior that harms you. If you are praying for a new opportunity, prepare your abilities so that when the door opens, you do not enter empty-handed. Blessing is not only a gift placed before you, sometimes it is also the strength that enables you to become mature enough to preserve that gift. I want you to understand that transition begins first within. Circumstances may not change overnight, but once you stop seeing yourself as someone who has been forgotten, every choice you make will begin to change. When you believe you deserve respect, you will stop trying to persuade people who are determined to disregard you. When you understand that your time is precious, you will stop giving it to arguments that produce no life. When you recognize that you have purpose, you will no longer allow distraction to steal your days. You begin rewriting your story not through a loud declaration, but through small decisions repeated in faithfulness. Every morning you choose hope instead of fear. Every time you keep your word, and every time you refuse to return to an old way of living becomes another stone in the foundation of your new future. Therefore, become still and feel peace finding its way back to you. You do not need to prove your faith through numbers, comments, or public recognition. Heaven does not measure your devotion by outward applause, but by the honesty of how you live when no one is watching. Let your confession be revealed through kindness, perseverance, and the way you stand firm when tempted to give up. Enter the new day with open eyes, because the door you have been waiting for may appear in a very simple form: a conversation, an invitation, an idea, an opportunity to learn, or a decision you have delayed for too long. I am with you not only in extraordinary moments, but also in every small step, quietly leading you out of darkness. Beloved, what is coming is not meant to turn you into a stranger. but to help you become a clearer, steadier, and more truthful version of yourself. I do not promise that you will never face another trial, but I remind you that trials will no longer be able to make you forget who you are. The days ahead will require humility in your heart, alertness in your mind, and willingness in your hands. Do not return to the place that exhausted you merely because you feel lonely. Do not shrink your light to make others comfortable. Do not give up just before the seed breaks through the heavy soil and reaches toward the dawn. You have been nourished in silence, refined through difficulty, and prepared for a new road. Rise in peace. Because your story is not ending, it is entering the chapter you once prayed for during your longest nights. You may be wondering why. Among so many people, you were entrusted with the responsibility of supporting someone who is lost and weary. I tell you that it is not because you have never been weak, nor because you always possess every answer. It is precisely because you have walked through days when you did not know how you would rise, experienced the pain of being misunderstood, and gathered the broken pieces within yourself while still choosing to turn toward the light, that you can recognize the suffering hidden behind another person's resistance. Trials were not permitted to destroy you. They refined you into someone who can show compassion without becoming blind, remain patient without becoming powerless, and love while preserving discernment. I saw you walking through your private valleys, facing fears that once made your legs tremble, and overcoming battles no one else knew existed. Therefore, do not believe your presence in that person's life is accidental. There are things they cannot yet receive from the crowd, but may be able to receive through your calmness, sincerity, and perseverance. You do not need to wear the world's appearance of strength in order to fulfill this task. David once stood before an opponent who terrified an entire army. Yet he did not win by wearing armor that did not fit him. He stepped forward with what had been developed during quiet days, with faith that had matured in the wilderness, and with courage that did not depend upon the size of the challenge. The same is true for you. You do not need to become someone else in order to help the person I have placed along your path. You do not need grand words. You do not need to prove that you are always right. And you do not need to carry the image of someone who never grows tired. Your true strength is found in sincerity, in your ability to remain present without judgment, in preserving peace while the other person is in turmoil, and in refusing to use their wounds to shame them. Sometimes, what convinces them that hope still exists is not a long sermon, but the simple fact that you do not look at them with contempt after they fall. Yet I know that faithfulness carries a real cost. There are nights when you remain awake because of a conversation that has not found resolution. There are days when you must work to keep your heart tender after being met with coldness. There are times when you wonder whether all your prayers, patience, and decisions to remain have made any difference. I see every one of those moments. Not one silent tear has been disregarded. Not one good act, performed with pure motives, has been forgotten. And not one time you overcame the desire to retaliate has been meaningless. But beloved, I also do not want you to believe that sacrifice means allowing yourself to be completely drained. Love does not require you to erase every legitimate need. Devotion does not mean remaining sleepless forever, enduring every humiliating word, or repeatedly repairing consequences another person refuses to take responsibility for. I understand your offering, but I also want you to learn how to rest within heaven's care. The harvest does not appear only when that person changes in the way you hope. Sometimes your harvest is the maturity that has developed within you through this journey. You have learned to pray without manipulation, hope without clinging, and give love without becoming imprisoned by another person's response. Every time you choose kindness instead of bitterness, your vision expands. Every time you speak truth with gentleness, your inner foundation becomes stronger. Every time you establish a healthy boundary without nourishing hatred, you move closer to mature love. The seed you plant does not always rise before your eyes immediately, but that does not mean it has died. Some seeds remain hidden through a long season, quietly forming roots before breaking through the soil. Your part is to sow what is good, care for it with wisdom, and refuse to dig it up every day merely to check whether it has grown. I know you have imagined the day when that person is restored. You see them no longer bowing beneath shame, no longer fleeing from what must be faced, and no longer destroying good opportunities because they believe themselves unworthy. You long to see light return to their eyes, hope return to their voice, and direction return to their steps. That desire is beautiful, but place it into my hands. You can open the door, but you cannot force them to walk through it. You can light the lamp, but you cannot force them to open their eyes. You can show them the road of peace, but the decision to leave chaos still belongs to them. When you understand this, the pressure weighing upon your shoulders will begin to fall away. You will no longer measure your faithfulness by the speed of another person's change. You need only ask yourself, am I loving in truth today? Am I acting from peace or from the fear of losing them? Have I fulfilled my part and known when to stop? Or am I trying to do what belongs to heaven? Perhaps one day they will rise, and you will recognize that every word of encouragement, every boundary you established, and every quiet prayer contributed to creating a road home. But they may also continue rejecting the light for a long time. If that happens, do not condemn yourself. Your mission is not to create transformation through your own strength, but to remain faithful to the invitation to love. A sower cannot command the seed to sprout, and the one who waters cannot force a young branch to appear before its season. Life grows according to a process beyond their control. Release the need to see immediate results before believing that your work has meaning. Some words you speak today may not be understood until years later. Some boundaries that anger them now may one day help them recognize that you loved them with honesty rather than indulgence. You must also understand that standing in a broken place does not mean allowing the entire wall to collapse upon you. If that person continually harms you, refuses responsibility, or pulls you into their cycle, you have the right to create distance. You can still pray without constantly arguing, and still desire what is good for them without granting them access to every private place in your life. Sometimes the wisest help is to stop rescuing them from consequences so that they may learn a lesson your advice could not teach. Sometimes stepping back is not abandonment, but returning them to the place only I can reach. When you release control, you do not stop loving. You simply acknowledge that you are a companion, not the one who determines the final outcome. Through this mission, you are being transformed more deeply than you realize. Your patience is becoming stronger without remaining passive. Your gentleness is becoming powerful without losing its boundaries. Your faith is moving beyond easy words and entering real life, where you must love an imperfect person without declaring wrong to be right. This is how your heart expands, not by silently enduring everything, but by learning to see others through hope while remaining grounded in truth. You are becoming someone who can carry peace into an unstable room, listen to pain without absorbing it, and speak encouragement without creating dependence. Therefore, beloved, continue your part with open hands rather than clenched fists. Pray, love, remain present, and say what must be said. But then allow the outcome to belong to me. When you are tired, rest. When you are confused, become still until clarity returns. When that person moves closer to the light, rejoice without taking the credit. When they step back, do not allow disappointment to steal your peace. Your faithfulness is not measured by whether you can save someone, but by whether you preserve pure love, integrity, and obedience throughout the journey. I chose you, not because you can carry the entire world upon your shoulders, but because you have learned to place burdens into the hands of heaven. Do what you can today, and trust that what lies beyond your reach is still being cared for through wisdom greater than anything you can see. Beloved, when you begin moving in harmony with the higher plan prepared for you, the scattered things will begin finding their proper places. Like a door long closed, finally moving beneath the right key, you will realize that your recent journey was not a meaningless chain of events, and that your difficult months did not come merely to test how much you could endure. Every time you rose after disappointment, every night you quietly fought against fear, and every moment you continued choosing what was right when no one was watching helped form a steadier person within you. Stones that once wounded your feet are becoming steps that lift you higher. Memories that once made you turn away are gradually becoming understanding that enables you to support others. I do not allow pain to remain in its original form forever, in the hands of heaven. What once broke, you can be transformed into courage, wisdom, and a purpose clearer than anything you previously imagined. Perhaps you have often asked why you had to experience such things while others seemed to walk more easily. You looked at closed doors, broken relationships, and failed plans and wondered whether you had been forgotten. But I want you to understand that delay does not always mean rejection. Just as a difficult road does not necessarily mean you are moving in the wrong direction. Some qualities can only be formed when patience is required. Some discernment appears only after trust has been placed in the wrong hands. There is a kind of strength that cannot be bought with money or gained through praise. It is created through trials that you survive without allowing bitterness to take possession of your heart. The world may take an opportunity, a title, or something you once valued, but it cannot steal what has been built deep within you. That maturity is a treasure you carry everywhere. And now the time has come for you to recognize its true value. Do not be too quick to search for a dramatic outward sign, because many important transitions begin with a very gentle movement within. You may feel unable to continue living in the old way. A small flame may be urging you to step out of delay, repair what remains unfinished, or return to a dream you buried because you feared failure. That feeling does not need to be loud, but it will remain persistent. Like light entering through a narrow opening and making it impossible for you to pretend the room is still completely dark. I am reminding you of the person you were created to become. Not the version diminished by fear, and not the person who always lives according to other people's expectations. You were called to walk in integrity, love, and courage. Listen to what is true as it rises within you, but preserve discernment. A powerful emotion may awaken you, but faithful choices made each day are what will carry you where you need to go. You are not accidentally present in this season of your life. What you have learned, the people you have met, and even the times you believed you were taking a detour are converging to prepare you for an important decision. Yet I do not want you to place all your hope in a few days, as though a good plan will disappear if a certain date passes. What belongs to you will not be easily stolen simply because an ordinary day did not produce an extraordinary result. The days ahead can become a turning point if you use them to awaken. Reorder your life and do what you already know must be done. Receive them as an invitation to act, not as pressure that drives you into fear. You do not need to prove your faith through numbers or public declarations. True faith is engraved through the way you live, how you keep promises, how you treat the vulnerable, whether you continue when no one recognizes you, and whether you keep planting goodness before the harvest appears. Remember the young woman who once lived quietly within circumstances she did not choose. Outwardly, she seemed ordinary among countless others. Yet every experience in her past prepared her for a responsibility far greater than her personal interests. When the decisive moment came, she did not know every detail in advance and was not guaranteed protection from danger. All she possessed was the understanding that if she remained silent because of fear, many innocent people would suffer. Therefore, she stepped forward with wisdom, humility, and courage. That willingness transformed someone who appeared insignificant into an instrument of deliverance for an entire community. You, too, may face such a moment. It may not happen before a crowd or inside a palace, but within your home, workplace, or a conversation you have continued avoiding. The call upon you may require you to make a decision you delayed because you feared others would disagree. It may require you to establish a necessary boundary, leave an environment that continually drains you, or begin the work you have prepared for in silence. At other times, the strongest step forward is not leaving, but forgiving, so that you no longer carry the person who hurt you into every new chapter. Forgiveness does not mean denying what happened, tolerating wrongdoing, or restoring access to someone who has not changed. It is the decision not to allow that memory to continue controlling your emotions and future. You can release bitterness while preserving boundaries. You can wish another person well without returning to the place where you were wounded. When you do this, you are not becoming weak. You are reclaiming the freedom the past once held tightly. Perhaps what you must do is surrender your dream to higher guidance. You put it away because one failure convinced you that you lacked ability, or because the doubts of others became a voice inside your head. But a seed that has not yet sprouted is not necessarily dead. Some dreams require a long season beneath the ground so that their roots may grow deep before the first shoot appears. I am not telling you to rush forward without preparation. I am teaching you to place the first stones faithfully. Learn what must be learned. Complete the work already in your hands. Manage your present resources wisely. And stop despising small steps. A lasting structure is not built through one moment of excitement, but through many days in which you continue even without applause. As your actions align with the goodness you believe in, the right door will gradually become visible, and you will possess the maturity to walk through it. I also know that the moment you begin moving forward, Doubt may grow louder. It will remind you of former failures, magnify every risk, and make familiar things appear safer than the calling ahead. Distractions may also arise, not always in frightening forms, but sometimes disguised as seemingly necessary tasks that continually pull you away from your true priority. Remain alert. Not every voice in your mind deserves your trust. And not every fear is a warning. Some fear protects you from genuine danger, while other fear merely protects old habits from change. Distinguish between them by examining which one leads toward clarity, responsibility, and deep peace, and which one produces paralysis, self-contempt, and endless delay. Plans intended to draw you back into darkness cannot determine your ending when you remain grounded in truth. But do not misunderstand strength as the need to fight everyone or view every difficulty as a visible enemy. Some of the greatest victories happen when you refuse to react in anger, decline to answer an insult with another wound, and refuse to let injustice turn you into the person you never wanted to become. The power within you is revealed through your ability to preserve a pure heart in a chaotic environment and remain committed to what is right, even when doing so may cost you temporarily. You are not only being protected from what is outside, you are also being preserved from bitterness, pride, and despair that could quietly destroy you from within. That is the enduring victory no one can take away. Therefore, beloved, enter the coming days with watchful eyes and a peaceful heart. Do not merely hope for an outward miracle while refusing to change your own choices. Make the necessary call. Complete what remains unfinished. Apologize if you have caused harm, and courageously say no to what is pulling you away from the right path. Reopen the notebook containing the plan you once abandoned, and choose one small action you can begin today. As you act in faith, the key will continue turning. Pieces that once appeared unrelated will begin fitting together, and you will understand why you had to travel such a long road. You are no longer merely trying to survive each day, you are being taught how to build, mature, and carry goodness to others. This moment belongs to you, not because you have become perfect, but because you have been prepared. Rise in humility, move forward in courage, and allow your life to become evidence that pain can be transformed into purpose. Trials can become strength, and a person who once trembled can become a steady source of light for many others.